Alright, part 2. Still talking about sex. Now let me tell you also what sex is not. Someone who sleeps with you, it does not mean that they love you. It doesn't. Especially for guys. I made this statement before, and a lot of times the ladies don't believe me. For the most part, we're talking generalities. For the most part, sex is around 80 to 90% an emotional experience for a woman. For the most part. You might be different. For the most part. Whereas for a man, sex is like maybe 10% emotion. Maybe 10% emotion. I mean, it's great if you love who you're with. It's awesome. It's fantastic. If you really care about this person. But a man does not have to love a woman to have sex with her. In fact, a man doesn't even have to like a woman to have sex with her. I'm sorry, it's true. That's why the prostitution industry is so thriving, okay? I mean, male prostitutes exist, it's true. But even then, well, I won't go too far off of that, but just trust me on this one. What a man and a woman take from the sexual act are different experiences. Again, in general. There's some super cuddly guys out there. There's some women that are like, let's just do it, now don't touch me, and I'm going home. Believe me, it exists on both sides. We're talking about generalities. So, don't mistake sex with love. Don't mistake the fact that a man will lay with you for the fact that he's going to marry you. In fact, quite often, it may mean the exact opposite, to tell you the truth. Because I've encountered this in talking to people, where it's all like, well, you know, if he sleeps with me, that means he cares, right? No. No, it does not. It doesn't mean that at all. It means he sleeps with you because he knows he can sleep with you. That's what it means. Especially if this is somebody that you want to marry, that you want to have a relationship with, and he gives you some reason why he can't have a relationship with you, and yet you are still good enough to lay with. This should be a red flag, by the way. Now, something I mentioned, I had another question that came up that I've already answered this one in an article, where somebody said, is it okay to have sex with someone you don't love? Well, define okay. You know? What do you mean okay? The answer that I gave them in the article is if you are two consenting adults that decide that you're going to do this thing and have this physical and emotional experience and that it's just going to be no strings attached, great. Knock yourselves out. Whatever two consenting adults decide to do behind closed doors, whatever you want to experiment with, even what other communities you want to belong to, as long as you're being safe and not hurting anybody, including yourself, great. But, this is true of all relationships, though. You all have to be on the same page. If one of you is just there for the sex and the other one's in love, you're heading for a train wreck. It's going to be a problem, okay? Like somebody commented, Steve, I don't even know who you are, brother, but this was brilliant. He commented on the article, on the Examiner.com, by the way. If you don't know, I write these articles, although you may be seeing this video on Examiner.com, but I write a relationships column and a spirituality column. So if you're seeing it somewhere else, search Examiner.com, B. Dave Walters. Anyhow, he wrote in the comments, be careful you're not having sex with someone who's making love. And that is true, okay? So what I told this person is, if you know this person has an emotional connection to you that you don't share, then no, you should not be sleeping with them. No, because it's only going to make things worse. It's only going to make them care more. And they're only going to get hurt in the long term. And I also told this person, I suspect you already know this, or you would not have asked this question, okay? See, that's the real benchmark of right and wrong, by the way. It's not about what you've been raised, it's not about what you've been told, it's not about your culture, it's not about any of that, honestly. It's about what you know in your heart is right and wrong. And as a general rule, if you feel the need to hide something, it's probably wrong. Probably. Not necessarily, but in general. If you feel the need to keep something a secret, then you probably know it's something you shouldn't be doing, right? Now, some things just aren't for public consumption. Like if you're into pony play or whatever, I can understand your friends may not understand that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go Google pony play. But again, only if you're an adult. That stuff's weird, man. So, you know, so many of us are raised with this like skewed perception of what sex is, or at least ideally what it is, because really there's 2 points. On the one hand, there is just raw biology. Humans have a biological imperative to reproduce. We are genetically programmed to have sex, and usually to have a lot of it. As I made the statement in the men and women video, for the most part, women are looking for better partners, and for the most part, men are looking for more partners. If you want to know why I say that, look at the videos I did on the spirituality one, actually, about men and about women. You'll understand why I said that. But when you are with the right person and you can be open and honest and communicate, and here's the thing, be open and honest and communicate. Why not, right? If you want to try something, that's a little bit weird, talk to your partner about it. Why not? What you got to lose? You may think, well, they might think I'm weird. Hey man, you see each other naked. If you can't tell the truth to the person that you see naked, who can you tell the truth to? Now, if your partner's asking you for something, and you don't want to do it at all, well then tell them you don't want to do it at all. But here's the thing, if they really want to try something on a scale of like 1 to 10, they're a 10, and you don't want to do it, but you're at like a 5 for not wanting to do it, then you maybe should take one for the team. Try it once, you never know, you might like it. It's true. But communicate your needs. Like women, don't fake your orgasms. Don't. You're not helping either of us. You're not helping either of us. You definitely aren't helping you. And if you're trying to make him think that he's doing a better job than he is, then what's his incentive to ever change? What's his incentive to ever try harder, to try something else? I mean, you need to be as fulfilled in this as we are. Because let me tell you something. We're simple. We're simple. The same one thing works on every man everywhere. Like, you know what that one thing is. You know, I mean, it's just kind of and we're good. Okay? Women is not like that. You guys are complicated, and every one of you is different. And there is nothing that works on all of you, and there is no way to know this except for experimentation. So if he thinks that it's like, well, I'll touch here and rub there, and you're like, you fake it, and you're all like, and I love you, right? Then he's going to think that works, and if that doesn't work, that's kind of your fault for misleading this dude, okay? Now, guys, listen. Pay attention. Maybe she doesn't want to tell you what it is that she wants, but just pay attention to the sound she makes. Pay attention to the way her body moves. When you're doing something right, if you're paying attention and not just kind of blindly jackhammering away, you'll notice certain things that you're like, well, when I put my hand there, her body moves like this, you know? When I kind of bite her here, she kind of makes this interesting sound. Pay attention to that type stuff, okay? And when you start to catch on to what she likes and what he likes, then you can kind of start doing those things again and again, right? And that has the makings of a positive experience. And I tell you something else, fellas. Remember we mentioned in part 1 about oral sex, which again, we're just kind of going to breeze past that. There's plenty of videos and books and stuff that'll teach you how to do that, okay? It's kind of outside my purview. But in general, guys, if you make sure that she's had her climax 2, 3, 4 times before you even get started, you've already had the makings of a good night. That is my secret to you, brothers. That is my gift to you, my brothers, okay? See to her first, and then whatever happens with you is bonus. Because here's the thing, guys, especially as we get older, some nights are better than others. Sometimes your friend is with you to the end and you've got, you know, an hour of power, right? And then sometimes he betrays you in about 2 minutes. Sometimes he betrays you and won't even show up for the battle, okay? Right? But here's the thing, if she's set in advance, then it still's a good night. You'll never be embarrassed no matter what happens. Even you don't know. You're like, wow, I impressed myself tonight versus, wow, I guess it wasn't my night tonight. But you know what? She's sleeping well either way. And when you do that, you're not going to have any trouble getting her to go next time. And I'm almost out of time, but I forgot something important that I covered at length in the article and video about women. Remember, a woman's #1 sex organ is up here. It's up here. Make love to her mind, man. Be sweet to her. Do nice things. Say nice things. Make her feel pretty. Don't make her feel like a piece of meat, like she's a boob delivery system. Don't just grab her and start humping, right? Sometimes you got to kiss. Sometimes you got to make out. Sometimes you got to watch sweet movies. Like I said, sometimes you got to light candles, red wine, back rubs. It works. Okay, I'm out of time. You're great. I love you. B. Dave Walters. Find me anywhere. Okay, bye-bye.